Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. So the final days of the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge is in the books. And for us, it really isn't gonna change the way we cook, because this is the way we cook on a normal basis. I cook from my pantry 99.9% of the time. I rarely ever go out to get something that I cook immediately. So cooking from my pantry won't change. What will change is me filming it. So hopefully you enjoyed the pantry challenge. Some people are carrying on. I am, but of course I'm not going to be filming it as much. I might throw a cooking video here and there, but this is going to be my final couple of days of the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge. So in keeping with trying to clean out my freezers or organize my freezers, I found some peppers that I had sliced up and frozen in the freezer, and I just fried them up with some onions. I also found in the freezer, not very many, but that's okay. And then I just did some beef that I had home canned, and we are going to just do sort of like an informal taco tonight. So I made some of those easy flatbreads I made the other night. I'm actually cooking these a bit more than I cooked the other ones because we are going to be eating these right away, so they're a little bit more cooked than the other ones I did for the pizzas. So here I have one of my long-term storage breakfast buckets, and I'm looking for the pancake biscuit mix. I have a recipe that I found online, supposedly a viral recipe that I want to try. Now I don't have everything, but I figured this could work. So I'm just going to dig through this bucket and pull out one of the packages of pancake mix. So I got my package of pancake mix, and I'm just going to close this bucket back up, but I do need to deal with these. Okay, so I've got my ingredients out for this chicken casserole. Is that what they call it? Okay, so for dinner tonight, I'm going to make this recipe I found online. It's called chicken cobbler, and basically I don't have all the ingredients, but I have kind of like a substitute I can use. Like they use the lobster biscuits that you get at Red Lobster. I don't have those, so I'm gonna use Bisquick instead. Got chicken. I don't have the rotisserie chicken, but I figured this would do just fine. I've got some cream of mushroom. I got some liquid off of some veg, just something that I had in the fridge. I'm gonna use the liquid off of here as well. They used frozen peas and carrots. I don't have any of those, so I figured this would do just fine, and I'll just add some extra liquid for what will come off of frozen. I have butter, and then I found this in my freezer. It's actually the filling for a chicken pot pie that I made back in 10 of 23. So yeah, it's time to use that and get it up out of my freezer. So I think I got everything. I'm gonna double check the recipe, and this is what's gonna be for dinner tonight. So let's get started. Okay, since I defrosted my chicken pot pie filling here, and I see that it's a different veg that I used. It's got it's probably mixed veg that I used in here. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to mix my peas and carrots just so everything gets distributed when I go to put it in. Just mix those two together and make sure it's all kind of distributed evenly throughout my cobbler. Okay, I've got my melted butter down. Well, not really melted anymore. It's actually started to solidify again, but that's okay, I think. I'm just gonna break up this chicken in here, put all my chicken in and spread it around. Make sure it's evenly distributed all the way through. So now that I have my chicken all distributed all throughout, I'm going to just add in my veg. Just kind of distribute it all throughout. And I think this is where I'm going to have to add a little bit of liquid because everybody's using frozen veg, which I am not using obviously because it's already defrosted. So I think I might have to put some liquid to kind of counteract or help to sort of get what liquid is coming from the frozen that I don't have here. So get this all down and go on to the next step. Okay, so I have my can of, I'm using cream of chicken soup, and I'm going to add, I'm using they use chicken broth. I'm using a combination of the broth that came off the chicken that I drained, and as well as some of this is what I used, and then the chicken that came off of the juice that came off the can of chicken that I used, and also the veg water as well. So I'm going to use that. It's a cup, and I'm going to mix these two together, get them all incorporated before I add it to the casserole. Okay, so now before I add that mix, I'm going to add in my spices. Now I'm adding a little bit of seasoning salt. I'm trying to work out these camera angles, so hopefully you can see it a little bit better. My regular garlic salt, onion and garlic powder. I'm only putting salt in this because I'm not going to put any in the biscuits, and that's why I used a little bit of the seasoning salt. And it looks like I have to get more pepper out. I don't think I'm going to put any more. And then of course the one I usually do. So yeah, that's my spices. And now I'm going to pour on my mix of the broth and the cream of chicken soup right on top without mixing it, they said. Okay, looks pretty good so far. Okay, so I have my measuring cup here. I'm going to mix the topping right in my measuring cup, and I don't have any milk in my house, so I'm going to use this dry milk powder, and I'm going to mix it with the rest of my broth to make a milk. So that's how I'm going to do it, and I need 2 cups of milk. Okay, so I mixed my milk, but it didn't look quite milky enough, if that makes sense, so I added in some more powder. So I'm going to mix that in now, and that looks a bit better. I kind of don't know what the ratios are. I just mix it until I think it looks like whole milk. So I need to buy another bag. I forgot to write down the directions on the last bag I threw away when I put it into those jars. But I thought that's looking better to me. So here's the milk that I need. 2 cups. It's not quite 2 cups. So I'm going to add a little bit more water because I used all the broth. So I'm going to add a little bit more water to it to bring it up to the 2 cups. So this is what I'm going to be using instead of the Red Lobster biscuits. And I want to show you when I package this. Now I'm not exactly sure if that's the expiration date or if that's the date I packed it. Some I put the expiration date on, and some I just put the date I packed it, but that is 11 of 2020. And look how well it's still sealed. It's still holding that seal. And these are food saver bags that I use. I never use the generics. I've not seen great luck with them with some people. Some people use it and it's just fine, but my luck, it will be a mess. So I just stick to the name brand for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the scale, and that box was, I think, about 11.4 ounces or so. So I'm going to measure out 11.4 ounces out of this and add it to my 2 cups of milk. Okay, I just want to kind of show you what it looks like. It's not hard or anything like that, and it smells just fine. I smelled it. I don't want to really taste it. I have used this in the past, probably the last 3 months, maybe around Thanksgiving or so. I used a bag of this and it was just fine. So I'm pretty sure it's fine. This one is fine now. So I'm just going to go ahead and mix it together and use it up. So how I'm going to get my 11.4 ounces, I set this to ounces, set the bag on it. That tells you how much it is. I'm actually pour it out of here, and when that gets to 11.4 ounces, I'll stop. So basically, just going to add it right into my milk. I know you can't see that, but I'm just adding it right into my milk. And then I am weighing it. See, I've only got almost 6 ounces in, so I need to add a little bit more, but I'm going to just mix this in first. And get the rest of it in. This looks like a lot. So that's 11. Oh, I went a little bit over. I could take a little bit out, and I think I will. Actually, yeah. Crazy. Yeah, I'm not going to be finicky with this. I'm gonna cool that good right there. So this is how much is in my milk now. So I'm gonna get that mixed up. And all I want to do is, I don't know if I want to try and get this smooth, or if some lumps are okay, like pancake mix. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm actually gonna add some of my seasonings to this as well. And I'm just using my regular seasonings. Oops, you can't see that. And my onion powder. And I'll add a little bit of garlic powder in here as well. And I'm actually out of black pepper. I have to go into my storage to top that up, so I'm not going to worry about that because this one has like all of them in there, so I don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to get this mixed up and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got it pretty smooth. There's a few lumps here and there. And I've got a little bit of parsley here from the garden. Just going to add in. I think it will add to it. And then I'm going to just pour it over. I think it should be okay. Okay, just pour over my batter. Just going to pour it right on. All over. And then we're going to get this into a 350-degree oven, they said, for about an hour. Okay, so that's my attempt at chicken cobbler, and the oven just came up to temp, so I'm gonna put it in the oven for an hour at 350. Into the oven it goes. Cross your fingers that it comes out pretty good, and we'll see it in an hour. So here it is out of the oven. It's nice and brown. I'm gonna let it cool a little bit because it's been out of the oven for like all of 2 seconds. Let it cool before I serve it. One thing I might do next time if I make this again will be put some cheese in it. Some people did and some people didn't, but cheese might be a good addition to this. So this is what it looks like on the plate, and I will say it smells delicious, and I'm sure it's gonna taste really good. So we are gonna sit down to eat, and I hope you have a great evening. Well, of course, here is this week's sandwich loaf. In the bread maker, I actually do not have anything else baking or anything else going on other than my bread right now, which is good. So I can leave this and do other things. So for tonight's dinner, I just did some grilled cheese on homemade sandwich bread, and I made tomato soup. And you see me do that before. So for the last night of the challenge, I have the rest of the Bisquick pancake mix. I have some egg replacer here. This is the pancake mix just in my measuring container. I have some dry milk that I made up with water this time. And we are going to have breakfast for dinner. So for tonight's dinner, I'm going to do breakfast for dinner. I have the rest of the Bisquick pancake mix that I used, or pancake mix that I used a couple of nights ago in that chicken, what was it? Chicken cobbler. There you go. And I'm going to use the rest of this to make breakfast for dinner. I have some egg replacers left in this bag here. Trying to use them up. I have my dry milk powder. I've made it already. I've mixed the milk. I have about 2 cups of the mix here, the Bisquick mix, and I'm going to make up some pancakes, and I might put some eggs with it and some sausages just to see how many pancakes I have, and then we'll decide how much eggs, and yeah, I'm going to do sausage because I have some of those in the freezer I can pull out. And I decided to use this because I want to use the eggs for like fresh scrambles, fresh eating, and I'll use this in there because we won't notice it. So okay, I don't know if you can see that, but I put my egg replacer right in there, and I'm just going to mix this up just to distribute those eggs throughout the mix before I put the milk in there and mix it up. So just to make sure it's evenly distributed before I add my milk. Just gonna add my milk right on in there and mix this up. And I'm gonna make pancakes for dinner tonight. Breakfast for dinner. So I was mixing my batter and it was really thick and I couldn't figure out why. And then I'm thinking, I add the egg replacer, but I didn't add the additional water. So once I added that, it came out to the correct consistency that I like. And now we're gonna just fry them up. So as I was frying them up, of course, everybody wanted to have a turn helping. So my little helper stepped in and they did a pretty good job. This is the way they learned. Yep, a little off kilter, but they still eat the same. So here is the stack of pancakes they made. I don't know, maybe about 20 or so out of the 2 cups because we like them sort of on the small side. And here is our dinner tonight. Breakfast for dinner, I did scrambled cheesy eggs, sausage, and of course, the pancakes. So we're going to enjoy our final night of this Three Rivers Pantry Challenge. Hopefully you had a great challenge as well this year. So remember, breakfast items do not just have to be for breakfast. Wow, this is how deep my pantry runs. They don't even make this anymore. And we have 4 bottles of it, and I just opened one for pancakes at this point 2 nights ago. So, yeah. So even though the pantry challenge is over for us, it really isn't. As I've said before, we eat out of our pantry on a regular basis, and it did not get to this level overnight. It took years. So build your pantry slowly. Even if you just start off with a week's worth of food and then build it up to a month's worth of food and maybe then 3 months, 6 months, a year, do whatever you can with the finances you have. Don't try to rush out and do this all at once. Like I said, this didn't happen overnight, didn't happen in one trip. This has literally taken me years to do. And I'm still having to add to replenish because we eat out of this every single day. So we're always eating it down and replenishing. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And click that notification bell to be notified when I upload videos. God bless, and remember, stay safe and keep prepping.